What happens when one of the biggest names in women's tennis meets one of the fastest rising players on clay? That is exactly what fans are getting in Rome. World number 4, Coco Gauff is through to the round of 16. But her path has been anything but smooth. On the other side stands Iva Jovic, a player arriving with confidence, momentum, and the kind of form that can make a favorite very uncomfortable. Is this another step forward for Gauff in her Rome campaign? Or could this be the match where Jovic announces herself on one of the biggest clay stages of the season? Let's break it all down. The Rome tournament has reached a very important stage. Every match now carries more pressure. The field is getting stronger, the stakes are getting higher, and for Coco Gauff, there is an extra layer of pressure because she is defending important ranking points from her deep run here last year. That matters. When you come back to a tournament where you previously reached the final, expectations immediately rise. It is not just about winning the next match. It is also about protecting your ranking, proving your consistency, and building momentum ahead of the biggest clay court event of all. And so far, Gauff's campaign has shown two very different sides of her game. Her opening match against Valentova looked controlled. She won in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4. That was the kind of performance Gauff would have wanted. Efficient, composed, and without unnecessary drama. But in the very next round, things became much more complicated. Against Sierra, Gauff had to fight. She lost the opening set 5-7, and suddenly there were questions. Was she struggling with rhythm? Was the pressure beginning to show? Then came the response. Gauff completely flipped the match around, taking the second set 6-0 before closing out the third 6-4. And in many ways, that match told the story of her clay season so far. There have been flashes of very high-level tennis, moments where she looks like one of the strongest competitors in the draw, but there have also been periods of instability. Her recent statistical trend shows that 3 of her last 4 matches have gone the distance. That tells us something important. Gauff is winning, but she is not cruising. She is having to solve problems during matches. And while that can be valuable, especially on clay, where patience and adaptability matter, it can also become dangerous against an opponent who starts fast and plays with freedom. That is exactly where Iva Jovic enters the conversation. For many casual fans, Jovic may still feel like the underdog in this matchup, but the numbers suggest something more interesting. She comes into this match ranked number 17 in the world. That is no accident. Her season has been solid, and more importantly, her clay court transition has looked very convincing. She has won 6 of her 8 matches on clay this season. That is a strong record. And what stands out most is how comfortable she has looked in Rome. Her opening win over Kessler was not easy. 2 tie-break sets meant that every big point mattered. But Jovic handled those pressure moments well. That kind of win can build enormous confidence. Then in the next round, she backed it up. Against Townsend, Jovic produced another composed performance, winning 7-5, 6-2, 2 matches, 2 victories, no sets dropped. That matters. Because while Gauff has had to spend time digging herself out of trouble, Jovic has been able to manage her matches with more control. And when players enter a round of 16 match, those details can make a difference. Another interesting trend appears in Jovic's recent matches. In 3 of her last 5 matches, her first set has been more productive than the second. What does that suggest? It suggests she often starts strong. She comes out sharp. She establishes her rhythm early. And against someone like Gauff, who has shown some early match fluctuations, that could become a very important factor. If Jovic gets out to a fast start, suddenly all the pressure shifts. Gauff will then have to deal not only with the scoreboard, but also with the mental challenge of chasing a confident opponent. Now let's talk style. Clay rewards patience, construction, movement, and mental discipline. Gauff has the athleticism for it. Her speed around the court is one of the best in the game. When she settles into rallies, absorbs pace, and turns defense into offense, she becomes extremely difficult to break down. But her biggest challenge lately has been maintaining a steady level from start to finish. At times, her level rises sharply. At other times, the unforced errors creep in and opponents are given openings. That is where Jovic becomes dangerous. She is entering this match with less pressure, which often makes young rising players especially dangerous. She has already proven in Rome that she can stay composed in big moments. She is moving well on clay. She is finding ways to stay aggressive without overplaying. And perhaps most importantly, she looks comfortable. That can be huge in a match like this. Now, experience still favors Gauff. There is no question about that. She has played bigger matches. She understands the pressure of late-round Masters events. She knows what it means to carry expectations. And that experience often matters most when the match gets tight. If this becomes a physical, emotional three-set battle, Gauff's ability to absorb pressure may become decisive. But Jovic does not need to be the more experienced player. She only needs to play the cleaner tennis on the day, and that possibility feels very real. One of the most fascinating parts of this matchup is that both players are Americans, but they arrive here in very different positions. Gauff is the established star, top 5 in the world, a proven contender, a player expected to go deep. Jovic, meanwhile, represents the next wave, a player climbing fast, a player building belief, a player who sees matches like this as opportunities rather than obligations. That difference in mindset can completely change the dynamic of a contest. For Gauff, losing this match would be seen as a disappointment. For Jovic, winning this match could feel like a breakthrough. And sometimes, that freedom makes all the difference. So what should fans watch for in the opening stages? First, Gauff's serve. If she serves well early, she can control her service games and settle much faster. Second, Jovic's first set intensity. If she starts the way she has in recent matches, she could put immediate scoreboard pressure on Gauff. Third, rally tolerance. On clay, patience wins points. Who can stay disciplined longer? Who blinks first in the extended exchanges? That could decide the outcome. And then there is the mental side. Because matches like this often shift not just on shot making, but on momentum. One break of serve, one long game, one missed opportunity. Suddenly, the entire direction of the match can change. Gauff has shown recently that she can recover when things go wrong. That is a very important quality. But constantly needing to recover can also become risky. Eventually, you run into an opponent who does not let you back in. Is Jovic ready to be that opponent? That is the big question heading into this round of 16 clash. So here is what makes this match so compelling. Coco Gauff enters as the favorite. She has the ranking, the experience, and the bigger match pedigree. But her recent performances have shown vulnerability. Not weakness, vulnerability. And on clay, that can be enough to create a real contest. Iva Jovic arrives with confidence, solid clay form, and the kind of momentum that can make an upset possible. She has not dropped a set in Rome. She has started matches strongly, and she has already shown she can handle pressure. This feels like more than just another round of 16 match. For Gauff, it is about control, stability, and keeping her Rome campaign alive. For Jovic, it is a chance to prove she belongs among the very best. Will Gauff's experience carry her through? Or will Jovic take the biggest step of her rising career? We are about to find out. Who do you think wins this match? Coco Gauff or Iva Jovic? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy tennis previews like this, make sure to subscribe for more coverage from Rome and the rest of the clay court season.